All right, Saggies, this is your ancestor message for May 2023. I hope you're doing really well today. Let's see where we go. If there are zodiac signs that show up in here, I am going to pull some cards in the extended so you can kind of get a sense of who you're dealing with. Let's see what the relationship, or not the relationship. Let's see what the reading shows. It may or may not be a relationship reading, but relationships are how we grow, and so they do show up in a lot of readings. So let's see where we are going right now for Saggies. All right. Come on, guides. Come on, ancestors. Let's go. All right. View from above. Overcoming obstacles. Hallelujah. And discovering truth. You stand in the light of truth. Well, we all know Saggies really are fiercely, sometimes brutally honest, and can kind of upset people sometimes because you're so honest. But, you know, and if you lie to a Sag, you're done. Okay? So that might be a message for a cross watcher, that if you're trying to get back in with your Saggy and there's been this thing between you because of some kind of lie or some kind of disinformation or something like that, you might find yourself really having to work pretty hard to get back in with a Saggy. So let's see what we're going here. I almost feel like this is a little bit more, I don't know, like seeing why something happened, kind of understanding the reasons why things happen. So you might do well if you're cross-watching this. You might do well to don't just blow off explaining why something happened. I don't feel like this is a purposeful action to hurt a Sag or anything like that. I just feel like it's not an excuse, but there's an explanation, okay? And Saggies can also be very forgiving, so to a fault, all right? 8 of Pentacles underneath, the 10 of Wands, the Magician, been showing up a lot lately. Here's that Page of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So Saggy, I feel like some of you have had a really tough go of it in terms of your work or in terms of money, or it's just been like harder than normal. Something's been harder than normal. And I feel like there's a small offer coming in or a small shift coming in that's going to make a huge difference. So you might just be a couple clicks off, right? Like if you have your own business or you're dealing with situations at work that you can't, you're like really working hard to try to make this work or do something that is going to expand your abundance, and it just feels like you might be pushing against a wall. Now, what's that phrase, like just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean that people aren't really out to get me. Like that can actually, both things can be true. So it can feel difficult, but there can also be some kind of purpose or reason. And you might have some kind of Saturn stuff going on in your chart where the lesson is persistence. The lesson is, keep going forward. Yes, this morning in the May 4th morning message, I said it was March 4th. And I was like, oh, that feels like a message to me, like March 4th, be persistent. And I mean, those morning messages anyway aren't really date specific. So if it was for March 4th, maybe it's a little late, but okay. Better late than never, because there's still something going on. If it was started on March 4th or something happened on March 4th. But it does feel to me like persistence is the name of the game here. And that's definitely King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. So that's Saturn, right? It is about putting in the effort. And I feel like you've been putting in a lot of effort, 8 of Pentacles, but you may not feel like you're realizing the benefits that you either used to realize or that you want to realize. And so that can feel really frustrating, okay? So King of Cups, no, we're doing this. King of Cups and the 5 of Swords, the Knight of Swords. Look at this, King of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, 7 of Swords, and the outcome is the 4 of Pentacles. There is something against you. There is some force, either a person who's manipulative. We got the 5 of Swords here, and we've got this Magician. And the Magician is about manifesting, there's no doubt, especially when we're talking about what we're talking about here. But there is also a sense of like, sometimes things are beyond your control. There are some things going on here, and I feel like for some of you it can be about the truth, that you're not really getting the truth. So if you're acting on false information, no wonder you feel like you're pushing against the tide. And it is, interestingly enough, these truth cards here, pulling that Ace of Swords out of that boulder, like Knights of the Round Table kind of stuff, puts you in another place, puts you in a bigger place. So if you're being persistent in like a more expansive place, so there's something, it's almost like, okay, I'll put it in the context of like, let's say you're doing a lot of stuff on YouTube and it's really frustrating. Well, maybe Instagram's your place. It doesn't mean you change the thing you're doing. It may mean that you're needing to realize that the place you're in or the situation you're in is inherently pushing back on what you're trying to do. Okay? That might be a consideration. There is a message coming in here. So I see you as like very legitimate, very, sort of heart focused and all of this. You might have done a lot of healing work, and that's a really great thing. You're not letting your blocks control you anymore. This last year and a half may have been a big time of moving out of money blocks, or moving out of blocks that are about like, I can't do it, or I don't have any follow through, or whatever the story is you've been telling yourself, or that's a voice from the past that's still around. Like, becoming aware of stuff and then healing and integrating the wisdom means that stuff, those detrimental messages or stories, don't control your life anymore. You're free to go. Okay? So this, which is the Wheel of Fortune here, you're free to go. You're moving on from any, being King of Swords, and you're moving on from any lies or deceptions. 7 of Swords and 7 of Swords, 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords. There is somebody around you who is being deliberately misleading. Okay? There is definitely somebody around you who's being deliberately misleading. And I feel like you know that, you see that. King of Swords and Page of Swords. Acknowledgement or awareness is a huge part of the battle. Because if you're like, oh, I just feel like I'm pushing a boulder uphill and it's never going anywhere and I can't figure it out, I don't know what's going on. If I said to you, hey, guess what? This colleague is undermining you. This colleague has, I don't know, blocked any email that you might send to the boss. So the boss doesn't hear from you, doesn't know what you're doing. And so that's kind of screwing with everything. Mercury retrograde, people. So messages are not getting through to the correct people. These are all messages because they're swords. And I see you working very hard over here. This is also a message. The Page of Cups is sort of like a, hey girl, hey, from the universe saying, heads up. Heads up. Let's clarify, okay? Let's clarify. 5 of Swords. 6 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles. More Pentacles. And the 8 of Wands. This is going to iron itself out, I believe, when you heed the awareness. When you just have the awareness. Sometimes the awareness of it is good enough, right? That you're like, oh, wow. I see it now. That person is doing this. I'm going to take steps to move beyond that. I feel like King of Swords doesn't take any nonsense. Okay, you've got 3 kings here. The King of Wands is missing. That can be you, like MIA a little bit in this scenario. Like, oh, I don't know. But this message that comes through, what about this message that's coming through? Because 6 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, you are putting in the time and effort, and things will move forward. I almost have a feeling that when we get through this new full moon in Scorpio, and we get through this, not through this, but this summer, we do have the north nodes, the nodes of the moon, north node, south node in Taurus, and south node in Scorpio are changing signs into Aries and Libra. And I feel like that's going to be a huge relief. Like whatever's been going on with money or with a lack of advancement or whatever it is the past year plus, right, will shift. It's starting to shift already in this eclipse season. So hoorah. All right, so what about this message, please? 3 of Pentacles, Page of Wands, 4 of Swords. Okay, beautiful. Queen of Pentacles. I love it. So if you have somebody who's deliberately being misleading, or you're believing the lies, or you're believing those voices from the past that you don't have what it takes or something like that, there is somebody here that is a good partner, Three of Pentacles, that you can work with. This person inspires you. This person also helps you heal. It just feels like finally getting some support. You're finally, so knowing the truth, learning the truth. Ancestors, thank you very much. Thanks for telling me that this is going on. And a person steps in that maybe has been not around, and you've been like grinding away on your own or something along those lines. And this person steps in and says, listen, why don't we do something together? Why don't you, or an offer comes. An offer can come from like a great opportunity for you to like teach at Mind Valley, or for you to, publish a book from Hay House, or something like this, where there's a third party. In this instance, third party energy is great because it's breaking this kind of logjam of lies and disinformation, or blocking. Somebody's blocking. Somebody or something is blocking. The energy of a thing is blocking, okay? Why is the Seven of Swords here? Three of Cups, Two of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. I like it. It's a lesson. Determination, persistence, understanding why you're doing a thing. It may have come easy to you or something like that, and now you actually have to work hard at something. And that's a very Saturnian lesson that says, and again, this can be a block for some people, but if something has been either easy or natural for you, and you really, now you have to work at it. So it's sort of like the difference between being good at writing, maybe news, I'm good at writing news, good at writing short copy, good at writing all those kinds of things, and writing like a novel or writing something comedy. Comedy is the hardest thing to do because you're shifting people's perspective. Comedy is about the unexpected, right? And it takes a really interesting turn of mind to be able to do that. And Sagittarians do have that interesting turn of mind. And it's also, comedy is funny because there's a kernel of truth in there, which is like, oh, but it's, it's funny. So I feel like there's a sense that you're getting some new opportunities coming in, and that is going to reinforce this notion that I've had that somebody is deliberately trying to block your progress energetically, spiritually, physically. There can be, a platform problem like I was just talking about, like maybe it doesn't need to be YouTube, maybe it needs to be Instagram or Pinterest or whatever, or maybe there needs to be more in-person stuff versus computer or distance or Zoom or anything like that. There's something definitely here about that. And I feel like if you're planting the seeds for the future, this truth is going to help you plant the seeds in a much better way. I love this Ace of Pentacles and this Ace of Swords. So we're going to talk more about that. I'm going to kind of explore the other, who the other is, and maybe it'll help some of you, maybe it won't, but we'll see. I do feel like this is opening up, and we do have some divine timing here. This is the timing card. Well, let's do this right now. This is the divine timing card. Here's my little homemade timing deck that I'm going to turn into a printed deck for you guys. All right. In time for Pisces season. So that's kind of a long way away. But what I'm getting here is that Pisces time period was the time of the shift, or at least the beginning of the shift. Pisces, King of Cups. There may be something, and this is also Pisces, this Jupiter energy. Before we discovered Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, Pisces was ruled by Jupiter. That was the original ruler of Pisces. And so you guys are in alignment in certain ways, especially about beliefs. And there can be magical thinking, or there can be kind of stick your head in the sand thinking, but more magical thinking, more like, oh, this is just going to lift, or this is just going to change. And I feel like that Piscean energy is coming along because there's some kind of healing of the heart that happened in Pisces time that is really starting to heal this, right? You're starting to recognize your why of doing something. Maybe something came really easy to you. Now you've got to learn leveling up. You've got to learn more stuff. So Saturn came in and said, hey, learn more. And Pisces was like, hey, it has to come from the heart. And that shift, I feel like, is going to be celebrated, going to have more opportunities than you know what to do with. All right, so let's see where we go. Yay, Saggies! Yay! All right. If you want to continue on with me, there's a link below if this is your story. I'll see you over there.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.